everyone, my name is Optimus Prime, and I'm joined, as always, by the infinitely amazing Primetime Moff. And whether you're watching us or indeed listening to us, welcome to our weekly show, Transformers 84 to 24, 40 years of rolling out, where we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Transformers brand. So if you're new to the show, or you've been watching or listening to it every week, you will know or not know that we cover every single year of the franchise from 1984 to 2024, each week covering a separate year with special episodes sprinkled throughout the year, covering other exciting things such as the movie or Transformers Nation or other such exciting things. So please like, subscribe, and follow us to join us on this incredible journey. Mr. Moff, how are you this fine, warm Sunday morning?
I am absolutely lovely, having a really good time of it, and on the hype train for TF Nation, and can't wait to talk about Transformers and inevitably put more toys on my shopping list.
Yes, that is well, it's a constant danger. Being toy collectors is always finding something else new and exciting that you want, and big conventions like TF Nation just make things better and also worse.
Yeah,
So,
I'm in a juxtaposition with it because, as a toy collector, it's terrible to go and just buy lots of things for your collection. You know, my wife always asks me, how many Transformers do I need? And I always say, X plus one. X being how many I have, and I always need at least one more, and then it'll never ever change. But I'm also in the position of, as a trader at TFN, I love that people want to come and spend lots of money and come and spend it with us, please.
I'm very much looking forward to that. And yes, it is a very, very, very helpful thing as a collector to have understanding significant others. My wife is amazing and has very much indulged my ridiculous hobby in all of its intricacies. Anyway, let's move on. We have now reached 2002 in our journey, which is however many 18 years 18 years since Transformers began. And so this is significant for a couple of things, which we'll get to, but it is also really the start of the Unicron trilogy, the first year of Armada. But there are quite a few other things to talk about this year. So
Some year this, isn't it?
it is. It's a big one. So let's just briefly go over a few things, starting with on the media front, on what was actually out and about and watchable at the time. So we had the last sort of half of the well, not even half, the last few episodes of Transformers: Robots in Disguise aired in on the telly box, and we also had the first sort of slew of Armada episodes, the first 16 episodes of the Armada show. So, as with is quite often the way with these series moving forward, you'll get the end of one iteration at the beginning of the year and the start of the next iteration in the end of the year, because you'll have a new line ready for Christmas purchases. So this is no exception with Armada cropping up. Yes. So what else was there?
Oh, the exciting one for me this year was that in America, we didn't get them at first. In America, they started to release the original cartoon on DVD, and I remember it was from Rhino, and I got seasons 1, 2 was split across two, and I didn't go into the third season because by the time the third season came around, we started to get it in UK. But it was the first time they came with packed with loads of extras, and I still have them, even though I would never watch them now because in Region 1 and I just watched the Region 2, I'd probably just watch them YouTube to be fair. But they came with extras showcasing like BotCon and videos showcasing the different conventions, and I remember sitting at that point, you know, we're now talking 22 years ago, which is frightening. I remember sitting saying, I'm going to get to one of these conventions. And it's actually really significant when we talk about the comment you made about significant others. My ex, who I was with at this time, was very much like, no, you're not. You're not going to do these things, and you're not growing out these toys, and you should not be getting not collecting as much. So I definitely didn't collect as much back then. It was very few and far between that I picked up because of the opinion. And I think that also had a big impact on how I enjoyed the toys. And we'll talk about that when we get to Armada toys. But I didn't have the partner who encouraged me. She definitely encouraged me, but my now wife like massively encourages and sees the benefits of the collecting and how much I can get enjoyment I can get out of it. So she definitely does encourage. But I think there's a big part of that back then when I saw BotCon, I was like, that's not a possibility. And whereas now, not only is it something that I'm confident it will happen, I think back to my first ever Transformers convention, Auto Assembly 2012, was my wife saying to me, we were due to have a child at that point, sadly we miscarried, but when we found out we were pregnant, she said, let's go to Auto Assembly, let's go to this convention, take your kid, encourage, like, get your geek in, teach your kid to be a geek the way you are as well and have fun in it. So it always think of these sets and think, go, what a different time. It was incredible to get them to start watching them, because I remember watching the full DVD sets when they came in. But the fact that it gave you a glimpse of something that, nowadays you go to YouTube and it's dead easy to get hold of all this kind of material. It's not just a cartoon, but like the videos of BotCon and all this different stuff that you would never see before. But that point was a real insight to, trawling through the DVD extras, every bit of it, and watching and rewatching. Really, really interesting. So always sticks out to me thinking back to this point.
Yeah. I trying to think back when that was. That was that the big silver box?
It was 2002.
Yeah, no, I mean, in my life, was that
was
the
a
big
big silver one?
Yes. Because I remember around that time, my wife was had just started working at a school, and we used to get up really early in the morning. And so I'd drive her into school, and I'll come back and I'll go to work later on in the day. But to wake me up in the morning, she would stick the Transformers DVD on the box set in the telly and turn that on to give me something nice to wake up to.
That's lovely.
I'm very lucky because I've been with my missus for most of my adult collecting journey. So she's, I think, incrementally accepted. And I think she's got to the point now where she can't really say anything about it. Anyway, yes. So that was the DVDs. It's an amazing box set, and the first time all this stuff sort of came out, it was just incredible. The little art cards and all the little extras.
Well, see, you're thinking of the UK one.
Oh yes, apologies.
The American was silver as well. That's what
yeah.
The American was silver as well. So American were the fold out silver ones.
Yes.
And then the UK ones, you're right, came as a collection in a silver tin.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then again, they had the American ones had animated cells, and then when the UK ones eventually come out, they have the postcards by Andrew Wildman, I'm sure.
Yeah, I thought they were a bit later. Anyway, comics. So this is the first time we've had a new Transformers comic since the G2 Transformers comics ended back in the early 90s. And it was the Dreamwave comics, which I remember coming out, and I remember seeing them. At the time, I was working in a shopping centre, and we had a little comic shop just across from where I was working. And I remember going into the shop and grabbing them as soon as they came out. It had the lovely sort of anime style artwork on the covers. They looked like a cartoon. They were really, really interesting and really, really special at the time. There are slightly different opinions about them now, and there's a little bit of controversy, which we might talk about later. But at the time, though, that they were really, really just a really cool story that carried on from G1 ish. And then you also had amazing stuff like War Within, which was the first time we'd seen a proper look at the War for Cybertron, and that was incredible stuff.
It was.
The designs were amazing, and the designs, even though a lot of the stuff from Dreamwave has been well since quashed, some of the designs from War Within are how we perceive the characters at that time in history.
100%, yeah.
And then we had the Armada comic as well, which appeared at some point during that year, probably.
Yeah, actually, it's so mad. When we were talking about this in the kind of preamble to kind of build up to it, I was kind of shocked that we had the Armada comic so quick. You know, I remember it being, I was at university and I would get previews every month that would kind of show you the comics that were coming up, and I had the Transformers comic coming back, and you know, they had the preview issue, and then they had the comics, and they sold stupid numbers. Like, they were competing with Marvel at the very beginning, which is a big part of what leads to the downfall of Dreamwave later on, and we may touch on that. But the comics, when these come in, these were outstanding, from a point of bringing Transformers back into, or bringing G1 back into life. You know, at this point, hadn't had much. You know, you had the PVC came out the year before, were the first seen Generation 1 brand, and you know, it was the first time really throwing back to the Transformers we grew up with, and they came with the cool covers where it was like an Autobot and Decepticon variant, so you'd have like, I think it was the Minibots and the Insecticons, and then you had like Blaster and Soundwave, you had, you know, Menasor and Superior, I'm sure it is. I can't remember now. But outstanding, and the artwork was very of its time. You know, it was big, blocky, mad, weird. But the cover work, they absolutely helped sell that comic, and really, you know, the comics can't be underestimated for what impact they had on showing there was a desire for that era of toys, characters, and I think Hasbro certainly listened at this point. You know, you're not getting G1 versions of characters. You know, we'll talk about toys this year of commemorative, but you're not getting them doing G1. Armada will absolutely look at the fact that we have characters that have a name and look so different. I have to believe there was a huge part of the selling of the comics, and again, these were competing with Marvel and DC in terms of numbers. For a company who only really came about from this, that's an incredible achievement, and it just showed how much interest there was in the previous year. I know then I think they did Turtles and some other stuff as well, so they did do other lines, that other comics that showed that 80s were popular, but there was something special. And War Within is certainly the best thing that or in retrospect, you look back 20 years later, it's probably still the one that holds up as strong. The Generation 1 stuff's okay. The Armada stuff's actually a lot more surprising. Like, I only went back, I said this to you before, I only went back and reread Armada recently, and was quite impressed with it. The G1 stuff's okay, but I think it's been superseded because IDW's G1 stuff is so strong, and that's what you're comparing it with. Whereas Armada doesn't have a comparison, and War Within doesn't really have a comparison either. It kind of, as you say, it's set the standard for what we're seeing in comics and stuff in the future. But yeah, Dreamwave stuff's interesting. Interesting story.
One of the things with the Dreamwave stuff as well is it's the first time we get, and it's not for a couple of years yet, but it's the first time we get any toys based on comic looks of characters. The Titanium series had a lot of the War Within and other designs from those comics. Obviously the G1 stuff was G1 designed anyway, but even the Revoltech Optimus Prime is sort of very much that Dreamwave kind of.
It is,
yeah. It's got
the
really big windows and the ab crunch and the weird proportions. But yeah, I just looking at it there and thinking about that. But yeah, so that's the first time we ever really got that, and obviously we're getting it more and more these days. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything we're going to talk about on comics. Shall we move on to toys, because there's quite a lot to get through.
Yes,
it's just every year gets worse. as we say every single week and every single year, the big the big thing is that the toys just get more and more as we get
Yeah.
on.
Yes, you think back to some of the years in the 90s where we were like, oh, we get 7 toys, or maybe not quite as little as that, but it felt very small. Now you're in the starting to really kick up, and then when it hit movie lines, it's going to be frightening.
Yeah, it just gets bonkers. Now, I think last week I didn't mention the spy changes for Robots in Disguise, because they're effectively just repaints of the Minibot dudes from
the GoBots.
GoBots. Thank you. My brain just went completely blank for a second there.
And to be fair, the spy changers, we could do an entire episode just on the spy changers, because there's so many variations of them. Whether it be from Japan or whether it be from US, there's so many variations of them. So it's hard to do them justice.
Exactly.
But it's good to kind of touch on them. And
the main reason. Fun. Oh yeah, the main reason why I was touching them this particular time is because they're all transparent repaints and they look absolute sex. I love them.
Well, all the repaints of the first set of 6, because we've obviously got some new molds.
Oh yeah, Explore and Scourge. Are all new, but yes, that I love them. But yes, let's move off of spy changes. So we're just doing go through all of the Robots in Disguise second wave, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've already seen with the spy changes, that's a lot of repaints. So with some new molds. So repaints again, you've got Stormjet, Super Prowl, Super Sideburn, and Super X-Brawn. I don't know why they decided to give them super names. Maybe
because that was part of the storyline.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
And we've got to remember the Stormjet, although it's a repaint, of another toy line. So again, it goes back to the RID being that legacy style toy line where it's bringing out. Instead, Legacy brings out characters for previous toy lines. This is bringing out toys for previous toy lines and new bits.
Yeah.
The G2 GoBots we just talked about. Stormjet's from Beast Machines and is a lovely colouring paint. But then they repaint their own stuff, and the colours in these are just beautiful. Like Super Prowl is stunning.
I did not want to take away from the fact that they absolutely look amazing. Super Sideburn, again. Where Sideburn is kind of like Tracks, Super Sideburn is very much Red Tracks. Whether or not that's completely intentional, I've always
never thought about it like that. But that's a great shout.
And Super X-Brawn as a sort of a rally version. It's just they look so good. I really like that. They're sometimes repaints are a bit sort of functional and pointless, but these all look amazing. Stormjet is obviously Jetfire, and so good.
I think the interesting bit with this is, if we could just pause on this for a second, like the super aspect of it. So this was the first real time we kind of saw the repaint change the character. So in Beast Wars we had, let's do a Transmetal version, a Transmetal 2. So we saw that evolution of the same character getting different toys. This is the kind of first real time that they get a new toy, but it's just a repaint or a super version of them. And obviously this is something that then continues in future iterations through the kind of Unicron trilogy. But this is the kind of first time they go, well, actually, we're going to recolour the toy, but we're actually going to recolour a character in the show as well and give them a reason they've been supercharged and changed character. So it's an interesting time, and it's, as you retrospectively look back and see that they've then carried that on throughout, is really interesting as well.
Yeah, I as I've mentioned previously, I really need to get back onto rewatching the shows and being slightly better informed about some things. So basic class, we had effectively Legends class figures, but because Prime and Magnus were too big to be the tiny Legends class, they're the bigger size. Because we also got the X-Brawn and Scourge, who were sort of more the spy changer kind of scale, sort of the traditional sort of that sort of scale. Both again really cool figures. They do not combine, which is I mean, slightly disappointed, but they are basic figures. And of course, the Obsidian repaint, who again is a really, really cool mold, and it's nice to see them reappear from Beast Machines again.
Yeah.
And
Again,
then
it's interesting because they reappear, but they don't appear in the show. So this is, at the point where they're starting to RID. I mean, they never got the car robots release, but they got an RID release. That at this point, it was like Hasbro were going like, what else can we go? What molds have we got? What can we throw into this line and just throw them out? So you've got stuff that is just mad, like Megatron, Megabolt. Did that get a Beast Machines release?
No, this is the first time it came out. So you had the giant floating head Megatron from the end of Beast Machines, who didn't get the toy out in time. Well, they cancelled the line effectively before he came along. So you've got him, and when we get onto the next slide, you've also got another Primal. Again, nothing to do with Robots in Disguise. Was just released under the Robots in Disguise banner to increase the toy count.
However, technically, you could argue that Megatron Megabolt can be part of this line more so because am I not right that his head works with Brave Max? But he works for Max, I'm sure his head in the head version, does he not work as? Am I right?
I believe he can. Yeah, he can
sure.
Headmaster.
I mean, it's very much a tedious link. It's certainly not like we're planning this for Brave Max, but it's just an interesting time frame of. I'm imagining that imagine now that it's different now because Legacy and stuff like that is kind of more like that. But imagine your Earthspark. They then went, well, we're going to bring out toys from Cyberverse is very similar. It doesn't really work. But imagine they were to turn around and go, we're going to bring out toys from RID that didn't come out in RID 2015. We're going to bring it in this line. It just feels a very different time that they would be doing that kind of thing at this point. But do you know what, it works? It's okay because it was that kind of line that had so much variance in its style that actually it was okay for it to bring these toys that they didn't really feel out of place because you've got other toys of the similar style.
Yeah, completely. Let's move on to the next lot, and then we've got some more repaints. Hooray! So you've got some more Beast Machine repaints with the vehicles, Night Cruise Scavenger and Mirage GT. So Mirage, but yellow. Scavenger, who is one of my absolute favorite bonkers Transformers. He's mental. I love him. And Sideways and Axa, who were not molds that had appeared much before or had.
They were G2, weren't they?
Yeah.
Laser cycles or something, weren't they?
That's the ones.
Or G2 were they G2 for America and G1 for us? Because now we got like some G1 stuff that then only get released.
Yeah.
That America didn't get, but got it as part of G2. I think that's the right molds. I think could be wrong, but I think that's the right.
And then there was Air Attack Optimus Primal, as I said, the before mentioned Optimus Primal, the third version of Optimus Primal that arrived of the Beast Machines look. This one. It's I've got it. It's gigantic. It's stupid, but it's also he has GPS, good old gold plastic syndrome in his midriff, which is literally the worst place to have it. Mine is okay. I am very careful with it. I do not touch it, but touching it doesn't actually make any difference anyway. But it's great. It's all got lights and sounds. It looks like Primal in the show. The monkey mode, the gorilla mode looks really nice. It's a really, really cool figure and really, really cool version of that iteration of the character. Scourge, who we're not going to talk about. And Cryotech, who is a really lovely figure. It's Beast Wars Megatron, but in a gorgeous looking blue color scheme. Absolutely,
I'm still upset that Legacy didn't do that.
Yeah,
of all the repaints we've had, I would love to see that because that Cryotech is gorgeous. It's a beautiful mold anyway. Like we talked about that in Beast Wars, stunning mold. And then in the blue, it's just gorgeous. I would love to have seen them do. Actually, I would love to see the KO oversized Beast Wars Megatron done in this color. The Beast Wars, the Legacy one's nice, but not Legacy Kingdom, was it King? I don't even know which one. I lose my track in my Hasbro lines. The Hasbro recent one.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that kind of done in this.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if it didn't crop up in a future line, because the last few lines of the Hasbro waves have been a lot of crossover with molds and
Yeah.
stuff anyway. So I wouldn't be at all surprised, or if it doesn't come out as an
No,
exclusive. Another quick
agree.
thing to note: the last this whole robots in disguise thing, you've noticed underneath the pictures that we've nicked from Transformer Land, exclusives left, right, and center, different
Yeah.
figures, different classes, different molds. There was exclusives for Walmart, Toys R Us, Target, KB Toys, which is
Yep.
a long defunct toy company in America, which is an amazing toy shop. I used to love going into those when I went to the States. But yeah, I think that is us done for Robots in Disguise, though,
Yeah.
for what it was. In fact, none of those figures are specifically a Robots in Disguise toy. They're all either repaints of previous. There's no molds there that are
No,
actually,
no,
but there's
that's a
nothing
good
wrong with
point.
that. Yeah.
No,
Um,
it's very much a line that is only had, what let's see if I'm quickly counting them up in my head. Uh, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, maybe
yeah,
8 different toys that were. I forget.
maybe.
Well, I suppose you also had your. I'm forgetting to add in the kind of to spy changer as well. But you're only a handful. The rest of it is
Yeah.
very much like a best of line. And again, we'll talk about Scourge in a wee bit, but a lot of the best ofs is Christ. They picked the amazing toys to be best of. That Cryotech. The
Yeah,
Scourge, the Brave Max. Like some of them are just epic toys brought out new
absolutely.
color schemes. Like brilliant.
Right, let's move on because yes.
Time. Yeah, we're running
Time.
out of time.
Minicons. I want to talk a lot more about minicons, but I'm not going to talk much about minicons now, other than I wasn't massively sold on them at first and then grew to love them immensely. The fact you've got just awesome little, really nice, fiddly toys to play with. They look cool. You can have hundreds of them. They interact with your mainline figures to do stuff, depending on the figure, and half of them combine into other things or can be used as alternate weapons. They're just amazing. They take all of the good things of all of the various different lines of small bots, so headmasters, target masters, uh, micromasters, that's the word, spite, all of them. They sort of combine it into this really lovely line of teeny tiny transformers, and they're amazing. Star Saber, the big gun that's name I've forgotten, the Sky Boom Shield, and the Street Action Team transforms, combines into Perceptor. They're just so cool, but I can't talk about them too much now because we need to move on. You got any
It's
quick
interesting.
thoughts?
I have a total different view on them. I just did have never connected with them ever, never. This series in the entire Unicron trilogy really just. I bought everything that came out in the what would have been Wave One. I bought it all because I was like, oh, new Transformers come amazing, and I kind of felt the same as I did with Beast Machines. It clearly wasn't for me. The cartoon, I think I only lasted 5 or 6 episodes of the cartoon, but I wasn't connecting with these at all. I've don't get me wrong, I went back and got stuff since and have much more appreciation in the last 12 months than I certainly did back at the time. But and there's bits of me go, why didn't I connect with these? Should I pick up more to try them out? I've just we talked beforehand. I picked up the Fans Hobby version of Air Defense Team because we were stocking it, and I thought I'm going to have this because I really enjoy the Fans Hobby Armada Megatron. But I have no good, no, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that it didn't connect with me, so I didn't buy them. The Street Action team, the transforming bike. I don't know why I never, but it didn't appeal to me in the slightest. So I never had. I don't think I had any of the Minicon teams or packs when they were out. I think I only went with the bigger bots. I didn't
Right.
have the for them.
Okay, moving swiftly on because yeah. Right, so Supercons. We had this new, I mean, they're deluxe class effectively, but they call them Supercons because, why not? So we have Blur with his Minicon, Cyclonus, Demolisher, Hotshot, A Prime! Yay! What are we on now? Two Optimus Primes this year. Sideways with Crossways and Rook, and Smokescreen with Liftdoor. Again, they're really, really fun, interesting, completely different looking bots.
Yes.
Some of them are better than others in terms of their robot modes. But they're all quite fantastic. I mean, Sideways coming with alternate headmasters because he's got two different heads depending on what side he's on. And then
I didn't know that, by the way. That suddenly made me go, I think I want that toy.
Yeah, so he's got alternate heads. Both of those minicons turn into heads, and also they combine into a bigger robot figure that can ride the bike. Sideways is an amazing toy.
I think that's
robot mode is awful, list. But he's honestly, I absolutely loved him. I somehow ended up with several copies of him, but I can't remember why. They all had launching missiles. They all looked amazing, and the action features you got with them from the interaction with the minicons was just superb. Let me move on to the next ones. So MaxCons, which were effectively Voyager class. You had Red Alert, who had so many different accessories. He was just a fun little, fairly substantial bot. Again, great. Scavenger with roll bar. Scavenger was basically he's a Constructicon homage in the color scheme. It was also motorized and battery powered, so it could drive along. Brilliant. Starscream is a lovely version of Starscream. I absolutely love his look. It's a really,
I agree.
Really great transformer in every way. The action feature with the missile launchers that swing over and everything, brilliant. And we're just going to get quickly onto the last two, the Gigacon and Superclass. Gigacon, I guess, is leader class, and Superclass is, I guess, kind of
commander
class. Yeah. Megatron, we'll get on to Prime. I remember seeing pictures of that Optimus Prime when it came out with his weird looking stupid combined mode head, and I absolutely hated him, and I absolutely hated that figure for quite a while and didn't buy it for well over a year into the line because I really didn't like it. However, I did like the other one, and very
I agree.
Yeah, just so much fun with this line. Just so many play features, so much. It was a fun line. It took a lot of the stuff that was good in previous iterations of Transformers. We've spoken a lot about gimmicks being a thing with Transformers. There's always another gimmick over on and above the central gimmick of a transforming robot vehicle. Let's just move on to the next bit, which I think is very quickly the commemorative series. I just want to touch on this very, very quickly. These came out in 2002. They were the first wave of reissues that were done by Hasbro for the Toys R Us exclusive line. And this Optimus Prime is the first G1 Optimus Prime I owned from new. I made my mum buy it for me. As a 24-year-old man.
I don't have that one. I had the Rodimus and was over the moon to get a new Rodimus because mine broke when I was a kid. I still have my original Rodimus Prime, but I never had Hot Rod, so I was going to say Rodimus Major because the name changes. But I was super excited to go to Toys R Us and pick this up, and I've said this to you already beforehand, but I wish I'd picked up Ultra Magnus then, or in one of the multiple reissues since, because I'd love a nice copy of Ultra Magnus. But I had a beater at that point, and funds being what they were, it was I don't need it because I've got a beater. But now I look back and go, I'd love to own a really nice Ultra Magnus.
Sure. Right, we're going to have to move very swiftly, onto our bot of the year. So for Mr. Moff, it is.
No, we're going to
no, me first. I messed that up, didn't I?
Oh, just
here we go.
Go back.
Brilliant. Me, Megatron. Very, very quickly. Again, like Optimus, when I first saw pictures of it, I hated it. I was like, why has he got a stag beetle head? Why does he not look like Megatron? Why has he got a purple face and blah, blah, blah? But then I saw it in the shop and I instantly bought it. I had to. It was just such a nice, nice figure. It just looks amazing. So many fun play features. Leader one, named from the GoBot for some reason, as a Decepticon. Well, Minicon. Activates so many different things: blast apart armor, a little prison, his missile launchers. He's got lights and sounds. He's amazing. And yeah, I really need to pick up another copy of him actually.
Yeah,
And
gorgeous toy, absolutely gorgeous toy, and just fun, fun, fun.
so much fun, so much fun. And let's no spoilers, but Moss bottom of the year is RID Scourge.
My bot is the year Scourge. We've talked about this mold before, and the love for the mold, so I don't want to go too much into it. I'll very quickly tell the story. I got this when this came out. It was a Toys R Us exclusive. My mum and dad were going to America for their whatever wedding anniversary, and I pleaded with them, go to Toys R Us, go to Toys R Us in Times Square and get this for me. So I have this toy from Toys R Us, and I still have the carrier bag that came in, and I absolutely love it. And sadly, one side of the trailer looks perfect, and the other side, the chrome does not look like chrome anymore. It looks kind of brown. So it gets only displayed in one way. But what a beautiful toy, and I absolutely love this toy and the kind of version of the character.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, phenomenal figure. I don't actually own it, and I sort of moved away from black repaints of Prime, not because they aren't awesome, but because shelf space. And yeah, I love that mold. I love that figure, and he was a great character in the show as well. So yes, excellent choice. Right. And it's now just time to wrap things up for this week. I'm sorry, we did rush through that rather a lot. It would appear that we had more to talk about on comics and things than we initially expected. Maybe we'll touch back and do a bigger thing on a Unicron trilogy super bonus episode at some point. I think
we should at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. But for now, that just leaves me to say thank you very, very much for watching and listening and liking and subscribing and all of those wonderful social media things that they force us to do so that we get acceptance. Thank you to Mr. Moff for rambling with me, and we will see you next week for the year 2003. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.